Alright, all you graveyard shift racers out there, welcome back to Under the Radar. And this week's Stunts of the Week goes to none other than Michael 101 with his stunt GTA Stunts hashtag, and also goes to CH7891 with his stunt word. And the reason why these two stunts made it in for the Stunt of the Week for this week, well, for the first one, anybody who's crazy enough to do a gyroscope that low to the ground with an ATV is definitely worthy of the Stunt of the Week. And not to mention the fact that he didn't lose his head during this stunt, bonus. And the reason why the second stunt made it in for this week, well folks, anybody who can highlight a gyroscope like this man did definitely deserves the right to be the stunt of the week for this week, especially with it in slow motion. Nice! And besides stunts in slow motion, folks, I think it's time for us to get ready to rev our engines for a very special high-flying edition of the GTA Online Top 5 Tracks of the Week. And the first track that we have up comes from the creator Genovia, and I do believe this is the fourth week in a row this man has been a part of this with his said track, G Rainforest Rally. And according to the maestro, to reassure me, yes, this would be the fourth week in a row this man has been included for the top 5 tracks of the week, so congratulations on that front. And alongside with it, the reason why this track was picked for this week, well folks, because this track involves you not only on an on-road but off-road race, dodging through trees and even going through tunnels to try to make your way to that pole position of first place. And not to mention has a split road path that you can take whether you go the high road or the low road to try to beat out your opponent. And the only tip of advice we have for you race fans out there for this week is to make sure you pick a car that has great handling, especially during the rainy times, because yeah, if you don't, there's a high possibility you're gonna hit a tree, especially during the off-road parts, which will cost you during this race. So pick your vehicles wisely, including those who decide to pick motorcycles. Seriously, be careful. And the next track that we have up comes from the creator Folly 38 with their said track, 6 Caddy Folly. And this track, which is a modified version of the actual RV track we reviewed a couple of weeks back, and according to the maestro was mentioned during the 4.0 series but brought back once again due to a couple of modifications, it's another cool and fun track that you can do during this game. Now, the only bit of warning we'll have for you fans out there is to make sure you land right side up when you try to go through the last parts of this tunnel part of the race. Because if you're flying upside down in a caddy cart, which Maestro says is impossible, but trust me, you can going at those speeds, you will end up exploding upon impact like I would and end up losing this race. And also, as another side warning, watch out for the objects inside of the tubes while you're racing down to the bottom. Yeah, because they can trip you up. A lot of them can. And the next track that we have up comes from the creator Mapache Local 8CO with his said track, ML8 Zancudo Transform. And this track, which is another game of chicken you could play in Fort Secundo, actually leads you into playing a game of chicken on an elevated road in an oval shape, which is absolutely dangerous with the fact that you get a chance to race with ramp buggies, phantom wedges, and even the Batmobile and Rocket Voltic that does make an appearance during this said race. And the only tip of advice we have for you fans out there during this race that is actually a lap race that you can use is to really don't get lapped during this race. The only tip of advice we have for you fans out there, because once you get lapped and you see a car coming barreling down the road toward you, yeah, unless you can pull off a perfect landing, you're gonna most likely lose this race. And a little bit of a warning for those in first place: learn how to dodge these cars, because if you don't, it will cost you during this race as well, no matter how far in the lead you are. And the next track that we have up, which comes from the creator Woogie, nice name by the way, with his set track WW Simona Freeway, or Simona Raceway. Thank you for the correction, Maestro. And this track, which is a replica version of the former Sears Point Raceway, involves you racing with a multitude of different cars all across the board, with the exception of any of the weaponized cars from the Gunrunner pack or any of the special vehicles that you would see with rockets on the back of them. It's a very fun track, and not to mention with a whole bunch of cool, easy to do hairpin turns in it as well. And the only tip of advice we have for you fans out there who tries to race on this very track is be careful of those hairpin turns in inclement weather, and that includes rain. So unless you have a car with great handling and like to do Fast and the Furious power slides, definitely watch out what you're doing on this set track, especially on checkpoint 17. Only warning we're gonna give you. And the last but not least track that we have up for this week, and another game of chicken that I got a feeling you guys are gonna love, comes from the creator KM Creator with his said track #KM Face the Ramp Trove, or Trove? You know, we'll go with the first one. And in this race of absolute insanity, and I mean it when I say it, folks, involves you racing against your friends up a skate park modified ramp with boosters in it. And to make matters worse, you got a choice of riding in cars such as the Go-Go Monkey Blista, the Wastelander, even the Batmobile, and also an ambulance, besides a Drift Yosemite that is all included in this race. And that's only a select amount of cars I'm able to reveal to make sure you get a real surprise while you're racing during this race. And speaking of surprises, folks, when you're going down this giant oversized ramp, a word of warning: watch how you jump when you go down the ramp after you leave the starting gate. Because if you don't, there's a high possibility that you will land in between the cracks and fall all the way down into the Pacific Ocean, never to be heard from again. Because a couple of those vehicles can't handle that much water in the engine, and it will cost you during this race. And oh, before we forget, if any of you crazy track racing fans out there want to give any of these tracks we mentioned for this week a go, besides a couple of other crazy tracks we added in there into the mix that we did not mention, you can head on over to the socialclub.rockstargames page, only known as socialclub.rockstargames.com, and look up the playlist entitled High Flyby to check out these tracks and race them out for yourselves. And one handy collection that can get you well over $100,000, maybe even more, depending on how many people you invite to this crazy circuit of a race. And I guess with that said, folks, wraps it up for another edition of the GTA Online Top 5 Tracks of the Week. And I guess with that said, we might as well head back into the music one more time. Oh, wait, according to the maestro, we're heading back into the music once again, and when we return, we'll be back with a bonus part of the show for you fans out there for this special holiday, right after this. So don't change that channel just yet, folks, and stay tuned.